I think I would like to stick to the discussion that happened. Bishop were more interactive. There were some questions here and some answers aptly given by our professor here. JNTU is part of our board. We belong to AP Society for Knowledge Networks, and we run a marquee program called Jawahar Knowledge Centers. And sir is part of our board, and we are doing a lot of things to bring in some changes into the educational system in terms of how we impart things to the students and how we assess them. As somebody alluded, brought this mention of MIT, I would like to say, it incubates 200 companies every year. The companies that it had incubated over the last 20 or 30 years, the gross revenue of those companies put together far exceeds the Indian GDP. And we can't compare a university here to an MIT there. Obviously it is comparing apples to oranges. There's totally two different ball games there. Right? But at the same time, we can't say if we are not doing at the scale of MIT, it doesn't mean that we demean what we do. Right? We still have to do the deltas we should. Right? The small incremental things that we should do to improve our system, we should keep doing them. Otherwise, we would be constantly discouraged. If we try to compare ourselves with a big demon there, we would be constantly discouraged. And the reason why those universities and those economies are flourishing is the linkages. This is, I think, the primary reason. There is a very strong linkages established between the university system, the industry, and the government. Right? So if you look at a typical professor in an MIT again, he would be paid on a 9-month contract. Right? And most of the universities do that way in US. This is what, at least as far as I know, I may be preaching to the choir here, but and the rest of the 3 months, a lot of money they make based on research grants. They get from various research institutions, various industries. They work in true cohesion and they create research projects for their students as well. So students get live experience on projects. So there is a lot of experiential learning there. That is what enhances, I think, creates a lot of interest amongst the students. And students go there for the passion of it rather than as peer pressure or there is nothing else to do. I have to become an engineer, whatever. So that experiential learning comes as a natural consequence. So if you look at Jacobson and Rudy's 5-point simple critical thinking formula for enhancing experiential learning, it's very simple. Once the student does something practically, just ask 5 questions. What did you notice? It's a very simple question, right? What did you notice? And why did that happen? Right? And does it happen in real life? Right? And why would it happen? And what can you use from it? Can you use it in real life? Just ask these 5 questions in every single thing that you do, and it deepens your understanding of concepts. Right? So some of these simple concepts can be applied, as again, we have a board here to take care of some of the things to bridge that gap between industry and academia, and we have this program called Jawahar Knowledge Centers. And we're trying to bring some changes where, when you talk about innovation in learning and assessments, there's a lot of innovation in the world. We don't have to reinvent. Right? You can look at some of the advanced institutions out there. We don't have to really think hard. There's people who have thought about it, and we're way behind. Right? So innovation is for somebody who is right there. Right? For us, it is really emulation. I think India comes under that category. Innovation is, I think, way beyond what we can. I think we can innovate on how we copy, or innovate on emulation, but we don't have to innovate something that hasn't been done. Right? So we are trying to do some simple programs. We're trying to introduce some concepts like business communication skills, which is very essential for our students. Typically, last 5, 6 years or 7, 8 years, if you look at it, barring the last 1 or 2 years, IT services industry has been really good. There were on average about 30,000, 40,000 jobs created every year in the state. Right? So about 7, 8 times that much in the country. And the economy was good, and at least some 20% of us of the students coming out were getting jobs, another 20% were going for higher education, whatever. So it was reasonably good. But this year and last year, if you look at it, there is a sudden dip because the bench percentages have all of a sudden gone up. Industries which used to have a 12 to 15% bench now are quoting 25, 30% bench. So there is a big drop in hiring. So now we have to think about innovation in how we do things as how others did. Right? So we are trying to introduce these business communication skills, some industry electives, where industry runs these courses. So we are working with IBM, Oracle, Microsoft, SAP, Cisco, some of these companies where we can take some of what they're doing and create an elective. And we have discussed with our Vice Chancellor here and the Higher Education Council Chairman, and we're going to do that as an elective, as an optional thing from a JKC standpoint, and probably put it for Board of Studies and Vice Chancellors over the coming semester or a year, and then see how that goes. And we are working with ISB. This is something that we are very proud of. I think we'll be doing it this year, or the coming year, where, I mean, there is 2.5 lakh engineers coming out every year. You can provide all of them jobs. Even the IT services industry creates about 30,000-40,000, at least until 2 years back they did. Now they're not. Other industries all put together, they don't do even 10% of that. So there's not that many jobs. So what do we have to do? We have to create more opportunities. And how do we create opportunities? By making more entrepreneurs. Right? So we are working with ISB and trying to impart these elective courses on behalf of ISB, where the students can go on a 4-semester elective course from ISB on how to become an entrepreneur. What does it take? How do you put your proposal? How do you go to a VC or a PE and get funding for your project? I mean, that kind of stuff. And they also get to, at the end of the semester, they also get a chance to go to ISB physically and sit there and or present before a crowd of VCs, right, on their proposal. And some of them might potentially get funded as well. So we're doing some of those things. We're trying to set up some incubation centers. This is a department initiative, the IT&C department initiative, where the colleges will offer their campuses for some of the small and medium companies. And these companies will set up their satellite centers there. And some of the non-mission critical tasks can be accomplished there with the help of students. So students will get some live experience with the industry being there in their campus. And industry can take the advantage of these students. They get it at free of cost, the whole facility and the student support and all. And department is going to incentivize this whole thing. So it's a win-win situation. So we're trying to do certain things, promoting. I mean, I think it's more than innovation. I think we have to execute. Most of us are familiar with what to do, where are the lacunae and what needs to be done. I think we just need to put our best foot forward, implement, execute some of the things that we are doing in a better way. And obviously there are a lot of gaps. I mean, as Sir indicated, I mean, there's dearth of good faculty. I mean, there's proliferation of colleges. I mean, we used to have 10, some 20 years back. Now we have 700 something. So it is difficult to get that much of a quality faculty out there in all the colleges. There is quality issues and all. But regardless, I think we have to do what we can. And I think technology is a great way that can substitute the teachers there. We got e-learning, we got web-based, webinar-based learning, satellite-based learning. I mean, a lot of stuff is going on. And one of the courses that we are going to run from Infosys is a webinar mode. Right? So the teaching happens in Mysore and everybody gets to see it on their computer over the web. So we are doing a bunch of things to improve the quality of education and trying to get more greasing with the industry. And I think the efforts are going to go on, even though there are some huge gaps. We are still going to work on these deltas, and I think good days are yet to come. Thank you.